I graduated from the National University of Taiwan with a master's in history, a program I had taken completely in the Chinese language, so that my thesis, my orals, all of my exams were in written and spoken Chinese. We discovered when I arrived in Canada that I had not been selected for a subsequent interview, so the civil service course of action was one that seemed to be closed. With this decision, we continued on to Vancouver, which was my hometown, and had been our ultimate destination when we left Taiwan. When we arrived in Vancouver, I had no immediate professional options open to me. I had come back with language ability, with a master's from a Chinese university, but with no experience in any specific line of work, and with no particular preparation for any specific type of work. I advertised in an international newspaper my qualifications as an individual with language expertise and cultural abilities to bridge cultural gaps between a Western society and an Oriental society, specifically China, and look for jobs with companies that would be interested in an individual who could provide such bridging. I was hired by a local firm in Vancouver, Cummins Diesel Sales, to do a research project on their potential for working in the China market. That particular project took me approximately 6 months to complete, and towards the end of that period of time, I naturally began to consider my options for future employment. I was living in the West End of Vancouver, living in an apartment. We had a small daughter at that time, and the three of us were trying to be receptive to what opportunities might be there for us. One evening, my wife, on going to our apartment, in the elevator, came across a gentleman who had Mao Zedong's little red book in his hand. At this period of time, this was in the early 1970, year 1970. The little red book was quite well known as a symbol of Chinese communism and of the activities of Mao Zedong in the Chinese Revolution. And she happened to discuss this little book with this gentleman. She recognized it, and it turned out that he was in Vancouver on a project representing the Canadian Wheat Board. And she was aware that the Canadian Wheat Board at that time was looking for marketing people to take care of specific areas of the world in market analysis and development work. To make a long story short, that gentleman came to our apartment in the next couple of days, and I was introduced to the individual who was filling the positions for these market researchers. I was interviewed in Winnipeg. I accepted the job, and for the next 8 years we lived in Winnipeg, and I was fortunate to have an excellent opportunity for marketing, to learn international marketing firsthand with a prestigious and very well positioned marketing organization.